Hi, welcome to Hikate's Crossing. Okay, so as we look at He's Just Not That Into You, let's have a look at the Rider Tarot. So as we shuffle and we pull out 3 cards, let's have a look here. So the first card we have is the Hanged Man. And we're looking at things from a different perspective. Maybe we're finding ourselves in limbo. So let's have a look. We're having to look at things from a different perspective. Here we've got the Death card and we're looking at transformation and changes taking place as we move forward. So as we're looking at things from a different perspective, maybe we're finding ourselves in limbo and we're transforming. We're allowing ourselves to gain our wishful thinking, maybe gain our wishes, achieve what we want. Once we've gone through, able to look at things from a different perspective. Okay, so we're going to read. Let's have a look here. We're going to read. Oops. Let's have a look. He's just not that into you if he's disappeared on you. Sometimes you have to get closure all by yourself. He's gone, poof, vanished into thin air. Well, there's no mixed message here. He's made it clear he's just so not into you that he couldn't even be bothered to leave you a post-it. This time you may not be so quick to make excuses for his behaviour. It's so painful. It's impossible not to be hurt or angry. But because of that, you might be tempted to make some excuses for yourself. You have good reason to want to spend a lot of energy solving the mystery of the disappearing man. But all those excuses, however valid they are, will not help you in the long run. Because the only part of that story that's important to remember is that he didn't want to be with you anymore. And he didn't have the guts to tell you that to your face. Case closed. The maybe he's dead excuse. Dear Greg, I had a brief fling with a really cute French guy. It was really fun. But it also felt like maybe it could be more than that. He went back to France and we started emailing each other. It was really sweet and romantic. All of a sudden, after one of my emails, he stopped writing. It's been 2 weeks, Greg. Maybe something happened to him. Maybe he didn't get my last email. Maybe I wrote something that upset him. I hate thinking that I'll never hear from him again. That's so harsh. Can't I write him again just to make one more attempt to connect with him, Nora? Dear Freedom Fry, yes, you can email him if you want to give him the opportunity to reject you one more time. Could he have gotten run over by a pomfret truck and is in the hospital and that's why he disappeared? Yes, but I have to say the law of averages say that it's more likely he met someone or realized that the long distance thing wasn't for him, or that you simply may not be the American girl of his dreams. If you want to write him and ask him again to close the door in your face for the 0.0001% chance his phone died and his email crashed and he lost all your contact information, be my guest. Just say I didn't warn you. Just don't say I didn't warn you. There's nothing worse than having no answer in business, friendships, and especially romantic relationships. But the bad news is no answer is your answer. He may not have written you a goodbye note, but his silence is a deafening see you later. The only reason to ever write him again is to give him the chance to say it louder with words. And don't you remember? You're far too busy and popular for that. But can't I at least yell at him? Dear Greg, I was dating a guy seriously for 3 months when he suddenly disappeared. I didn't hear from him for days. I was so worried, so I called his best friend. And he told me that my boyfriend got back together with his old girlfriend and moved in with her. I get that he's not that into me, but don't I have the right to find out how he could do that to me? Don't I have the right to not let him get away with it, Renee? Dear, just walk away, Renee. Sure, but guess what? He knows you're going to be pissed. He's a colossal a-hole, not an idiot. He played the whole thing out in his head. That's why he just disappeared. What he doesn't know is how quickly you can get over him and his bad behaviour. You'll show him that by never talking to him or his friends ever again. P.S. And he's not getting away with anything. Everywhere he goes, he's still that same a-hole. In the short term, it might feel good to call someone and yell at him, but in the long run, you'll have wished that you had not given him that much credit for ruining your life or even your day. Let someone else expend that kind of energy on him. It may feel like you're letting him get away with something, but trust me, nothing you say is going to be news to him, and you've got so much better things to do with your time. But I just want an answer, excuse. Dear Greg, I went on a trip with my boyfriend of 6 months to California. We had a great time. When we got home, he went to visit his family in Boston. When I called him to check in, his mother told me that he'd gone to visit his friend in Florida. I never heard from him again. It's devastating. I believe the only way I can honour my feelings in relationship is to talk to him and find out what happened. What's wrong with that? Lisa. Dear, you picked a lemon. Do you deserve to know what happened? Yes, but unfortunately for you, I can tell you what happened. You were dating the worst person in the world. What could he possibly say that will make a big happy light bulb go on over your head and make you exclaim, oh, that's why my boyfriend left me without a word and went to Florida and vanished into thin air. Nothing he could possibly say will be satisfying to you. But what will be satisfying is if you don't spend another moment of your energy on him. You picked a lemon, throw it away. Lemonade is overrated. P.S. If I ever go to Florida, I'll kick his butt. Sometimes a person's behaviour is so abhorrent that it leaves little doubt as to what to do. The big mistake you made was choosing that person to begin with. The quickest way to rectify that mistake is by learning from that, moving on, and choosing much more wisely in the future. And quick, before any more of your previous time is wasted. So simple. The reason it's so painful when someone disappears is you have to face the fact that the person you loved had probably left you a long time before he grabbed his coat and scrammed. The hardest part is realizing that he was lying to you in some way before the moment of vanishing. Don't ask yourself what you did wrong or how you could have done it differently. Don't waste your valuable heart and mind trying to figure out why he did what he did, or thinking back on all the things he said and wondering what was the truth and what was the lie. The only thing you need to know is that it's really good news. He's gone. Hallelujah. See you in the funny papers, Yellow Belly. Here's why this one is hard, my Liz. Oh, for Pete's sake. This one's impossible. He disappeared. He just stopped calling you or writing you or seeing you out of the blue. You were in what you considered some sort of relationship. You felt that whatever you had together warranted even the tiniest explanation if one of you decided to call it quits. But instead there's silence. No explanation. No goodbye, just vanishing. There's nothing worse in dating terms. Nothing worse than that sick feeling you get in the pit of your stomach when it looks like the guy you were seeing or getting to know has decided to bail on you instead of talking to you about it. Nothing worse. So first you feel hurt, but then you feel helpless. Completely and totally helpless. He just disappeared, making you feel like you had absolutely no value or meaning to him whatsoever. And you might be shocked too. He might not have ever behaved this way before. So now you're all so unbelievably disappointed. Really? Now I have to not like him. Now I have to think he's a jerk. That's what this relationship added up to. There's got to be some kind of reasonable explanation. So then you start giving this great guy a big heap of your time and energy, making up excuses for why he's disappeared. He's busy. He's busy. And maybe he's busy. Still hoping that he'll come to his senses and at least drop you an email. You then start going through everything you said, did, or wrote that might have driven him away. What was the thing you said that was so inappropriate or needy that he had no recourse other than to head for the hills? You blame yourself for some perceived strategic misstep. Oh, if only I'd played it better, he could still be mine. Or simply, you're worried that he's dead on the street somewhere. Why else would he disappear just like that? So then you want to call him and say something or write him. You're either angry or hurt or still holding out hope that he's in a coma or at a hospital somewhere. But however you feel, you definitely think it is your right to either yell at him or find out what happened. What's worse than not knowing? Nothing, except maybe not getting to tell him off. Greg would say that the best revenge in this situation is not anger, but emotional distance. As quickly as possible, Greg would say that we have the answer. He didn't want to stick around and wasn't a man enough to tell us to our face. Isn't that answer enough? That's when I would say to Greg, no, actually it's not. That answer is definitely not good enough. I want to know why. And then Greg would say, really? Are you sure? Do you really need him to detail every last reason why he didn't feel like seeing you ever again? I hate Greg. Breakups are horrible. But to me, what's truly devastating is to feel like you weren't even worth the breakup. Again, it's natural to want to do something about that. Greg just wants that something to be about moving on, as opposed to looking back. Not having closure is one of the most difficult things for me, and many people, to live with, so I know why it might be impossible not to call the cad. But I guess Greg would lecture you again. He's such a know-it-all. And say that before you make that phone call or write that email. You should at least play it out in your head. Will it really make you feel better? Do you think it will really change the way he feels about what he did to or you? Is it the only thing you can think of that will help you move on? If it is, then I say hell with Greg. Give the guy a call. But I guess the hope is, for me at least, that when a guy no longer wants to communicate with me and doesn't have the manners or courage to tell me that to my face, he's given me all the information I need. It's the toughest one of all to put into practice, but I definitely like the kind of girl who could do it. Good luck to us all. This is what it should look like by Greg. I regretfully admit to having disappeared on a woman on my previous life as a single guy. A year later, I saw this woman on a street, standing in front of a cafe. She looked stunning and was holding hands with a very handsome dude. I realized that I was, of course, 10 million miles out of her head, and probably had been 2 minutes after I stopped calling her. Her lie looked way more dignified than my behaviour. Greg, I get it. Okay, Greg, I won't email the French guy, I promise. If you don't believe Greg, 100% of men polled who had disappeared on a woman said that at the time they were completely aware of what a horrible thing they were doing, and no woman calling them or talking to them would have changed that. What you should have learned in this chapter: he might be lying in a hospital with amnesia, but more likely he's just not that into you. No answer is your answer. Don't give him the chance to reject you again. Let his mother yell at him, "You're too busy." There's no mystery. He's gone, and he wasn't good enough for you. Okay, that's it from me. Okay, from He's Just Not That Into You with the Rider Tarot deck. Don't forget to check the links down below. Check the links on my channel. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when the next video will be uploaded. Take care and blessed be.